Let's talk about self-care in two different categories. First category, really your head and your heart, that sort of mental and sort of emotional part of you that needs to make sure it's being taken care of. And the other part is the body, the physical side of self-care. So a lot of times when anybody is going through any sort of trauma or emotional stress or dealing with mental health issues, they're sometimes trying to figure out, how can I feel better? And there's so many different things that you can do. And this is coming from someone who has really spent the last 6 years working on, what can I do to feel better? What can I do to feel more myself? I had another video that I'll link to this one that's more centered around therapy in particular, but this one is really about things that we might be able to do as far as self-care goes. So I'm going to do 10 different ideas for self-care that are going to hit that head and heart category. And I'm going to do another 10 for physical ideas for self-care. So sit on back and let's talk a little bit about this. So the first category is going to be head and heart, mental and emotional ideas that you can do for self-care. And there's going to be 10 of them. So the first few kind of depend on what your mood is and who you're wanting to be around in this sort of like arena of taking care of yourself. Number one is spending some time with family. Sometimes just getting away with your family, whether that's just taking some time for yourself to spend time together, doing something that you love, whether that's with your parents or your spouse or your children or whatever the case is, just to refuel your head and your heart with that love. That is a huge thing to help you feel better when you're struggling. Number two, slight spin-off on that, would be spending some time with friends. Sometimes, especially if you are a mother and a wife and maybe you work and you have all these things going on, sometimes you want to make sure that you're remembering to take some time, not just for yourself, but also to nurture and cultivate those relationships with friends. So carving out a little bit of time to have a girls' night, or getting together for coffee, or getting together for lunch, or whatever the case might be, is really going to help that part of taking care of yourself. So often when we're surrounded by our friends, we can bounce ideas off each other. We can be soundboards for each other. We can feel less alone or less isolated. And it's a big part of self-care and self-love for yourself. Number three, if you've already spent a little time with family, spent a little bit of time with your friends, maybe spending a little bit of time by yourself. And sometimes, especially if you're in sort of a chaotic environment a lot of the time, maybe that means that your work is really crazy at all times, or you're traveling a lot for work, or you have all the children with all the things you have to deal with, or responsibilities, or you're volunteering, or you have all of this going on. Sometimes you just want to be alone. And a lot of these other 18 different ideas that I'm going to go through are going to give you things that you can do, but just remembering to channel that into, you know what, maybe I need to have some time for myself, right? Whatever that looks like, having that time for yourself. Maybe that just means that you're watching some Netflix, whatever the case is, but putting out that time for yourself is so important. Number 4 is going to be to meditate. This is going to hit a little bit of the head, a little bit of the heart. This is going to be that sort of mental and emotional part. If you're new to meditation or you've never done it before, there's so much out there that you can learn about it. You can go online, even a simple Google search. There's so many YouTube videos on it. There's so many different ways to get into meditation. One of the things that I learned in therapy is that there's not just one right way to meditate. There's so many different ways, and they work for different people. You know, some of the things that have worked for me is, number one, sort of focusing on my breathing, right? If I'm needing to just take some time to be by myself and meditate, one of the things that you can look at doing is think about really working on breath work, right? One of the things that really helped me a lot that I kind of tuned into quite a bit, especially when I needed to, was box breathing. You've probably heard about this, but this is the idea of breathing in through your nose for 4 counts. Then you hold it for 4 counts. Then you release for 4 counts, hold it for 4 counts, and then do it again. So you're breathing in, hold, out, hold, etc. Right? So box breathing is helpful for a lot of people for that. Focusing on your breath is breath work and very helpful. Other kind of mundane ways that you can think about meditation is focusing or mindfulness, where you're really just thinking in sort of ways of gratitude, or as you're walking or grounding yourself or kind of connecting with nature, just really sort of being mindful is another form of meditation. There's so many different ways to meditate, that you can really kind of dig into. That could be a whole nother video on meditation or self-hypnosis or all of these other things. But meditation is definitely something, and breathing and grounding yourself, that can help. Number 5 would be reading a book. When I say reading a book, that also could be, it could be reading a physical book. It could be reading on your Kindle. It also could be something like listening to a book, if you like, Audible or whatever the case is, if you like doing that. But listening, reading a book can be really helpful for yourself. That might mean that you're wanting to do that as sort of an escapism, like maybe you're reading fiction, it's something that's uplifting, something that's going to make you feel good, or sometimes it's to get you out of your headspace, just to get you out of the space that you are and kind of bring you somewhere else, which is what reading can really do. Another kind of reading that you could look at is if you wanted to read more in the genre of the nonfiction side, and you wanted to read more along the lines of, self-help or really ideas on how to kind of lead a positive life or things like that are going to fuel you in a positive way. I think when you're in a place where you're feeling susceptible and you know that you're struggling, you want to try to surround yourself by positive people, positive influence, things that are going to help you in a way that you're not being sucked into negativity and things that are going to pull you down, because you're actively trying to get out of that space. The next one is number 6, listen to a podcast. I think that this can kind of be in the same realm as an audiobook, but when we talk about podcasts, it's very intentional what you're wanting to listen to. You might be wanting to listen to a podcast specifically that's going to help solve problems for you, give you some solutions or answers to things. And so there's a lot of things that we can do with podcasts. Maybe you want to listen to a podcast where you're being productive, because a lot of times we can feel really good when we accomplish things. So listening to a podcast is a way to be able to multitask if you want to kind of do something for yourself, maybe while you're doing other things at the same time. Number 7 is journaling. If you aren't someone that's journaled on a regular basis, or it feels new to you, sometimes it can be overwhelming. How do I journal, right? Number 1, there's a lot of journals out there. They're called guided journals, where they actually will guide you through very simple prompts. And sometimes you're wondering, why am I doing this? But there is a lot of science behind the idea of how writing helps, how getting words out help, how working through your thoughts helps. All of this stuff can help your mental health and be a form of self-care for you. When it comes to journaling, you could follow a guided journal. You could just take out some paper and just start free writing whatever's coming into your mind. You could do it more like a diary, where you're talking about the things that you've gone through. You could do a worry journal where you're getting the thoughts out. There's all sorts of different ways. Sometimes when I talk through these, I feel like, oh, there's another idea for something we could discuss. But journaling is definitely a way of self-care. Number 8 on this list for the head, heart, mental, emotional category of self-care would be making a gratitude list. Sometimes when we're in a hard space, or we're really kind of feeling, things are tough right now, or we're struggling emotionally or mentally, it's hard to not focus on that. If you make a conscious effort to make a gratitude list, that's one step in the direction of starting to feel better. At least you can say, you know what, I am going through all of this stuff. I acknowledge that, but I am so grateful for A, B, and C. And here's why. And actually listing those things, listing the things that you're grateful for, and pausing after each thing and thinking about it and reflecting on it, or writing it out if you want to take it one step further and sort of combine that with a journal sort of activity for yourself. But gratitude, if you're able to do that and able to channel it, there's so much positivity in that will help your mindset, right? So that is an area, if you're thinking about gratitude, that can be taken one step further. If you're feeling gratitude towards a person or an organization or whatever the case is, you can take it one step further and actually let them know. You can shoot them a text message, or give them a phone call, or send a positive Yelp review or something. And sometimes I'll do that because I'm intentionally feeling grateful for something or somebody. And in doing that, it kind of helps fuel me a little bit, knowing that I just made them feel good also. So there's a lot of good to that, in creating that gratitude list and taking action on that. Number 9 would be create a relaxing bedtime routine. That would be doing something where you sit down and you say, what would be my ideal routine? A lot of times when things are chaotic in our mind or our heart, like our life sort of reflects that. Sometimes that means that our house gets a little bit messier. We're falling behind on our chores. Sometimes I tell people if they look at my bedroom, they can get sort of a reflection on how my headspace is. If I'm a total mess and my stuff's everywhere and I haven't put the laundry away and things like that, I'm probably not in a good headspace, right? A lot of times we can feel that energy of what's going on around us, and having a good bedtime routine will help you to where you're saying, you know what, before I go to bed, I'm going to do A, then B, then C. I'm gonna fix myself a nice cup of tea, then I'm going to read this book, or I'm gonna journal on this, or I'm gonna watch my favorite, whatever it might be. And so some of those things and putting yourself on that schedule can actually help you get in those patterns that are gonna help you with that routine, which can help your mental health. And the last one is going to be allowing yourself the grace to do the things that you want to do. Right? So number 10 on this list would be if you decide that you're wanting to watch a feel-good show on Netflix, or you're wanting to binge watch some romantic comedy rom-com, or if you're wanting to, whatever it is that you feel that you need to do that's not harming yourself or harming others, let the people in your life know, hey, this is what I need to do right now, and do that. So those are 10 ideas of things that you can do for your head or your heart to help you with your mental health. Okay. Let's pivot over to the idea about what you can do to help with your physical space, your body, not just your mind and your head and your heart and things like that, but also what can you do when thinking about your body that's going to help you with self-care. So to think about this, there's a lot of different things that we can do, but we're going to just list 10 of them. So the first one would be to go for a walk. I love this one because it's simple. It's something that doesn't require some of the areas that you might need in some of the other examples here. Anyone, if they are able to walk, can go and take a walk, whether that means, take some laps around your house, or just get up and move your body, or even better, go outside, or, figure out how can you fit in time to go out and have a walk. What can you do to do that? So number 1 is go for a walk. Number 2 would be go to the gym. If you have a gym membership, which some of us do, and we just need to dust it off a little bit, it would be going to the gym. Going out and being surrounded by other people that are also moving their bodies and exercising can be a really positive experience for you. If you don't have a gym membership right now, or you're in between them, most gyms will have a day pass available, or a guest pass, or if you have a friend that wants to go with you, there's a lot of ideas to get you into a gym, and maybe that could be something that helps you with your self-care in the physical space. Number 3 would be getting a massage. This is something that I really, really believe can help people. I personally had to go through a period of time where I was not mentally or physically wanting to be touched or wanting to have a massage. But eventually I figured out in what situations I was okay with it. There was a lot of healing involved. But now, especially with a female therapist, I love going and getting a massage once a month if I can. I find that really relaxing, a way to just say, you know what, I want to take care of my body, things like that. Maybe you can have a spouse give you a massage or whatever the case is. But there's different areas of massage that you could also explore if you wanted to. This could be looking into either a regular massage and all that goes along with that. Or it could be looking into something like, for example, Reiki or acupuncture or cupping or different types of massage that maybe you haven't explored yet. I actually had my very first Reiki session yesterday. So I could do a video on that one. I cannot even tell you how emotionally cleansing that was. Crazy. But anyways, and so I had a Reiki session through a massage therapist that also is a Reiki master, and it was incredible. And it was just such a good example of self-care and making the time for myself to do that. Number 5 would be, let's say, going and either getting or giving yourself a mani-pedi, one or the other or both, right? Some of these might involve paying for something or going to get something, but a lot of these you can also do these to yourself and at home. So this would be setting aside the time, whether it's to go and get a mani-pedi or just do it at your own home. Take care of yourself so that you say, you know what, I'm going to paint my nails. I am a clear example of someone who needs to do that. But that's an area where maybe you don't really want to get a massage. Maybe that's not an area, or maybe the budget's really tight right now. You probably have a bottle or two of nail polish laying around, or if not, you can probably get one for $1 or $2. So it's a really good way to say, you know, I'm going to do something that's going to make me feel good right now. You know, on sort of a bigger scale, you know, sometimes, you know, us gals will say, you know what, I think I need a haircut. I think I need to do something different with my look. And so that can sometimes help as well. Number 5 would be in the self-care physical realm, would be looking at something as simple as taking a bath. You know, take the time to get a nice bubble bath for yourself, lock the doors, have everything else taken care of where you don't need to think about that for a minute, and have that bubble bath, right? Throw some Epsom salt in there, throw a bath bomb in there, whatever the case is, and just relax, right? Work on your breathing, read a book, listen to something, combine some of these other areas. Or if you're not a bath girl, some people have introduced me to the idea about relaxing showers and how you can up your shower game just by taking some of these little, they're like bath bombs, but they go in the shower. And so they sit on the floor of the shower, and when the water hits them, it's just like a spa experience, and it is glorious. So going ahead and doing a bubble bath or a shower and kind of incorporating those ways to take care of yourself. Number 6 could be taking up or trying out a new exercise or exercise class you've never tried before. So this might be, you know, I've never done yoga, or I've never done spin, or I've never done, you know, Pilates. And some of these things, maybe you're headed to the gym to do it, or you're going to get that guest pass and try it at the gym. But you know what? There's also ways to try that out online. There's plenty of yoga that's guided on the internet or on YouTube that you could try out just to kind of make time carve for yourself to connect really with your body in that movement space again. Number 7 would be going for a bike ride. You know, this is one of those things where they say it's like riding a bike. If you have a bike, or if you have a friend that'll loan you a bike, it kind of gives you like these vibes of like remembering what it was like to be a kid again. If you have kids, take them if you want to. If you don't want to, don't. But that's another way to just kind of get your body moving and getting out. And there's something about the wind sort of, you know, on you that can be very, very relaxing. The next one is going to sound a little bit odd because this seems like, again, so easy, but to get outside for even 10 minutes. Like if you don't think you can carve out the time to do some of these more time-consuming things, if you say to yourself, I'm going to set a couple of alarms throughout the day, and I'm going to go outside physically into the sun, hopefully it's sunny, you know, but go outside, and if it's sunny, that's beautiful. That vitamin D is going to help you feel better. If it's not, you know, bundle up, that fresh air is going to help as well, right? So the idea about getting outside, even for a small dose, you know, I feel like I'm someone who reacts very well to needing to be outside or having some of that like natural energy. And so for me, that's something that I'll do if I'm cooped up, because I work at home a majority of the time if I'm not traveling. Sometimes I'm at my desk for so long that I say I just need to get outside. And I literally have chairs, like outdoor chairs, set up in different places, like on my front porch, on my back patio, and areas like that, so that I will go out there and I will sit in that chair because I know the sun will be on that spot for 10 minutes, even if I'm just setting an alarm and doing that, and closing my eyes and allowing that to make me feel better. Number 9 and number 10 are kind of fun, but you want to make sure that you're not harming yourself in any way. But number 9 would be, you know, eat something yummy, right? Hopefully it's something healthy, that'd be bonus, but something that, you know, that's good for your body, also tastes good, something that you enjoy, that you might be able to get a healthy version out of, but something that, you know, treat yourself if you want to. And the next kind of related to that one would be, you know, get yourself, instead of just having just a plain coffee or something like that, you know, or just your regular water, you can also kind of, you know, make yourself a mocktail, or, you know, put your coffee in a fun mug, or do something that just kind of makes you feel better and just enjoy that cup of tea or whatever it is. And so sometimes connecting with those things that we are, you know, eating or drinking or doing can really make us feel better. There's so many things that we can do for self-care, and I think that it's important to remember those things. For me, it was many years of trying to figure out, what can I do to feel better? And this wasn't just about me, this was about all the people that I'm around. Because when you are in a place where you're dealing with depression or PTSD or mental health triggers or whatever's going on, and you're struggling, it doesn't just affect you, it affects your family and your friends. And you don't necessarily want to burden yourself too much with all of that, but that's the reality. And so to think, what can I do to help myself feel better and really kind of make things better for everybody around me? And these are 20 ideas, 10 on the physical, 10 on the mental emotional that can help you do that. I've tried all of these out in different ways, and I know that between all of these and, therapy and all the other things that I've gone through, it's definitely helped. I think that recognizing how important it is to take care of ourselves and our mental health is more important than sometimes we realize. I didn't really realize how important this was until I was neck deep in the throes of it. I didn't really realize what it was like to suffer in these ways until I had to go through it. But once you start to learn the things that you can do to help yourself, there is a light out of it. And hopefully maybe one or two of these might help you. It's Valentine's Day coming up. Show yourself a little bit of love, a little bit of self-care. And I hope this is helpful to anyone in any way. And that's all.